Okay, friends, the recording of this session has been started now. And I want to personally thank you for you to be here in this session and want to learn a few new things and want to get PMP certified as soon as possible. And I'm sure that this session will add value, will motivate you, will give you confidence, and will energize you to become PMP certified on your first attempt. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay. If possible, just give me a thumbs up after that once you see my screen. Okay. Very good. Okay. So friends, of course, this is mastering PMP, and the objective of this session is think like a project leader, not just to pass the exam, because many times people, in spite of having 15 years, 20 years of experience, people are not able to clear the exam because they are not able to think like a global project manager. The way PMI want the project manager to perform his project management responsibility. Okay. So this session objective is to add value more than just a certification. And this mindset, probably you're going to do many certification going forward. Maybe this may be your first or second certification. Today, certification has the, the highest payback and the shortest time to recover your investment. Okay, there have been some time where MBA and the long-term management courses were very dominant and people were behind them. But today, there have been many research which I have seen where people are going for skill-based certification and global certification, which the organization are taking more valuable than the certification from any national or international university. So glad that you have taken this journey to become PMP certified, and together we will have a PMP for you very soon. Okay. So let's continue. Before even discussing few questions which I want to tell you, friends, of course, I'll not spend much time on my introduction. I'm, of course, a PMP certified professional from 2007. And I have other 4 PMI certifications, which are Agile Certified Practitioner, Program Management Professional, Portfolio Management Professional, and Risk Management Professional. These are my 5 PMI certification. I have a Microsoft certification, which is Microsoft Certified Professional in Enterprise Project Management. And I'm also Microsoft Certified Trainer into Microsoft Project, SharePoint, and all these technical training as well. I do a lot of such tool-based training. Everything what you have learned in PMBOK guide in the training, everything that can be implemented using Microsoft Project Management Information System. This is called PMIS. So Microsoft EPM solution is a PMIS, which is Project Management Information System. Using this PMIS, you can manage the entire project lifecycle. So when I do training into the Microsoft project and with the collaborative tool like SharePoint, along with SQL Server, SharePoint Server, and all those things, it becomes an enterprise solution to managing project lifecycle information. And that is what we learned in PMP. This is called PMIS. Okay, it's a tool, it's a system to manage end-to-end project lifecycle. Okay. Of course, I am IIBA, International Institute for Business Analysis, Certified Business Analysis Professional. So IIBA is a global body, just like a PMI is a USA-based body. Similarly, there is a body from Canada. The Canada-based body does many certification into business analysis. Okay. Of course, I have many other certification of Agile, including Scrum and a lot of other technical certification. But you can connect to me on LinkedIn, and you can see all of those certification on my LinkedIn profile as well. Okay. And if you're not connected with me, do connect with me on LinkedIn. Do follow Add-on Skills. YouTube channel, and some of my newsletters on add-on skills company page on LinkedIn. Trust me, the content which we create, the intent is not anything for us, not for add-on skills, it's for our community. Okay, so this is going to be a lifelong. Many people, once they get certified, then they get busy with their operational thing, and they rarely get time for continuous improvement. So one thing is, you can follow my podcast channel, my YouTube channel. My means when I'm saying add-on skills company page, and this is the the smartest and the quickest and most easiest way to improve as a professional, continuously. So do subscribe and follow all those things. And even if you don't want to subscribe, even if you don't like anything, we really don't mind. We don't expect anything from our alumni. We always intend to give to our community and to our alumni, like each one of you here. Okay, so we never ask for any subscription or any follow, any like or any love or any comments. Don't do it. We really don't expect that from anybody. Okay, but please visit those content, and it's my promise that that content going to shape your life as a person and as a professional. Okay, that's the only intent that we have. Now, before we talk about the some exam question, and we brainstorm together some strategy we discuss together, we just want to talk about some PMP mindset, okay, which is very, very important when you're going to sit in the exam. Because this PMI exam mindset is very important. As I said, we have seen people with 20 years of project management experience. They go with a lot of confidence. They feel that they have been practicing project management from more than 20 years, and they feel that they will crack the exam. But I've seen that these people struggle a lot in the exam. Of course, not everybody, but there are good number of cases we have seen, in spite of having 10, 15, 20 years of experience, they are not able to crack the exam. And this is not new for us, because we have been trained 10 to 15,000 of people in the PMP and many other certification as well. There have been so many instances where and they wonder why they failed. Because when they do project, they worked in a limited environment. They worked into one region, they worked into one organization or two organizations where they practice the project. So whatever the organization culture, organization structure, organization environment they work the project, they create a same mindset, and they respond to exam question exactly the same way. So if you are sitting in the exam, remember that you need to keep in mind that more than your experience, this strategy, this mindset, if you prepare, then you will have holistic learning. Because please don't understand that if you have 20, 30 years of experience, then you know project management, everything, then I'm sorry that there are lot of improvement each one of us need to have, because PMI, PMP is a global standard. They're going to test your knowledge with global, global standards, with global practices, in how you work in different culture, how you work with geographically diverse stakeholder, different political environment, how do you, respond. And that experience, in spite of having 20 years of project management practicing experience, that you may not have experienced this. And this is exactly what PMI mindset is all that is required to pass the exam. I'll tell you a few simple mindset principle that will surely help you to take the right approach for exam questions. Okay. And before even discussing those questions, I want to share this. So when even you attempt some of these questions here, you should be able to apply this mindset, so you will able to answer the question correctly. Okay. So one thing we want to tell you, the first point, if you could see in the screen, And in the PMP exam, what I have experienced is people immediately react or act to certain situation. If I give you a situation that a stakeholder is unhappy with the some project deliverable, then the project manager, the first reaction or first action what he does is he immediately start blaming the project team that why customer is unhappy, or he start trying to come under the pressure and start pleasing the customer, or in that he start creating scope creep and gold plating. That means without analyzing that whether the customer concern is legitimate concern or not, because he is a customer, he immediately start reacting to customer request or customer conflict or customer complaints. Okay, so this one mindset I would like to tell you, friends, when you're giving the PMP exam, project manager should not react immediately to any situation. And there are different type of reaction. As I said, sometime he started trying to please the customer, start uh, putting team into the pressure, and start immediately changing the plan without even formal change control board approval. He do not analyze the complaint, the conflict, the requirement, the change. He do not collaborate. So analyze, collaborate, communicate, and then act. Do not act first. If you apply this principle, this mindset principle in the exam, then I can promise you that you will able to answer many questions correctly. Friends, that's something. Because in the real environment, I have really seen if customer has any complaint, the very even senior project manager, they start immediately reacting to that customer complaint or customer query. And this PMI exam want you to become a mature and a professional project manager. The second mindset principle that I would like to share with you is servant leadership is powerful leadership. You need to empower team. You don't need to plan everything yourself, especially when you work in the agile delivery approach. And there are 50% of the question will be on agile and hybrid and so on. So remember that command and control is not the best leadership style. And this area is tested thoroughly. If I share my experience, out of that 180 question that you're going to attempt in the PMP certification exam, there will be at least 5% of question will be on servant leadership. And 5% is a big score. Okay. So my humble request is practice servant leadership. Servant leadership, I hope you have learned in our training. But simply I want to tell you servant leadership means solving the impediments that the team face during their iteration, during their sprint, empower the team, trust the team, and protect the team. Because during the sprint, during the iteration, product owner will, because customer requirement change. In Agile, product owner is treated as customer. Of course, product owner is a customer representative, or we sometimes treat it as a customer itself. For project manager, for the developer who is working in that particular project, developing that product and service, the product owner is the customer. Okay, many times this mindset is very important because you will not face the end customer directly. For you, the product owner is the customer representative. That's what the Scrum guide, tells us, that treat product owner as a customer representative or treat as a customer and then work with him. So customer requirement, when I'm saying customer requirement change, the product requirement change, product owner requirement change, I'm saying ultimately he's representative of customer, and he will keep pushing changes when the sprint is still in progress, whether it's a 1 to 4 week, that's a sprint duration. Shortage the sprint, better for the business. You deliver business increment. Okay, so please understand that the Scrum Master, Agile coach, team coach, these are the different jargons you will see in the exam. Or sometimes they will say Agile methodology and they will still say project manager. So absolutely, Scrum Master is a project manager, but he's a different kind of project manager who is not creating the plan himself. Rather, he is helping the team to self-organize and then to create the plan. So please understand that you have to be the servant leader. You have to empower the team to create the plan, solve the problem when the plan is in execution. Okay, during the sprint, remember the ceremonies, the sprint ceremony, the scrum ceremony, the sprint itself, the product, the sprint planning, the sprint, the daily stand-up, and the retrospection. So during the sprint planning, you will create, it is also, every sprint is a project. In Agile, every sprint is a project. Okay. So you must understand that you must set the sprint goal during the sprint planning, define your estimate based on your velocity, and then execute the plan. And during the execution, when the sprint is in the progress, that is the time you need to, as a scrum master, as a project manager, or as a coach, and these are the different jargon you will see in the PMP exam, where you need to protect the team from unnecessary changes during the sprint progress. Of course, sprint can end if the sprint goal itself is determined as not delivering any increment to the customer. Okay, but until that is not being confirmed, the sprint should not stop. So please understand, this servant leadership is very powerful leadership style, and on this you will see the exam question. Another area which we see, fix the root cause, not the symptoms. Many project managers, what they do in their organization, doesn't matter how many years they are practicing project manager, 2 to 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 15, 20 years. I have, in my experience, I have seen people do not find a solution based on the root cause. They immediately respond. If I give you a simple example, okay, let's say during the monsoon time, if you get cold, the best thing people does is they just pop up some pill or take some cold syrup or medicine, and they feel that everything is done. And after 3 days, the cold occurs again, because you have not solved the root cause. You have not developed your immunity where the weather is changing. Your immunity, your health is immune to every changing weather. So including in the project life cycle, the weather changes. Weather in project life cycle, weather is nothing but enterprise environmental factor. So weather is just an analogy which I gave you. So where environment, and today, especially, environment is most volatile, most uncertain, most complex and ambiguous. The wars are happening around the world. The economical conditions. In India, you have heard Mr. Modi yesterday. He said that please use oil very judicially. Don't unless if he said that if you can use carpool, then please do that. Even eat less oil, and also don't purchase gold. Of course, I don't want to go into that, but just want to tell you that there are changes happening. Now, how that environment will impact our project? So we don't have to react immediately, and don't have to work on just on symptoms. So remember, as a project manager, The weather will continuously change. The environment will continuously change during the entire project life cycle. What you need to do is, don't just immediately find a solution based on some symptoms. Because you got cold, you you have taken some medicine and you get relaxed, that the problem is solved. Probably the problem is not at all solved. Maybe in next 2 days you will again see running nose, cough and cold, and so on. So please, when you're giving the PMP exam, understand that there are going to be environmental influence, and environmental influence will lead to uncertainty. Uncertainty is nothing but risk. Because when environment change, PMI define risk as an uncertain event. There will be risk. You need to proactively deal with risk. And when we're dealing with risk, you need to use technique, root cause analysis technique. A simple technique, if I tell you, use 5 why technique, 5 why, or Ishikawa diagram. There's so many technique to go to the root cause. Ask why I got cold, and ask that same why 5 times. It's a proven methodology that once you ask why you 5 times, generally in the third iteration of asking why, you will find the root cause. But it's a proven approach or technique to get to the root cause. Of course, you know Ishikawa diagram. This is not a training, so I can't go in that much detail. But if you have any doubt on Ishikawa diagram, then you can reach out to me later on. Okay. Next thing I want to tell you, communication solve more problem than escalation. Friends, PMP exam, escalation word will be the last option to choose. Please prepare yourself with this mindset. Friends, trust me, communication solve more problem than escalation. Never escalate a problem until you communicate, until you collaborate. Trust me, we have seen many a time where, and this is also called confrontation. Conflict resolution technique, confrontation, smoothing, compromising, sourcing, withdrawal. And you have learned this in PMP, and our expert trainer have taught you all of these things. And confrontation, which is also called problem solving, is a win-win technique. So confront first, analyze first, don't escalate. Communicate with the stakeholder. And there are lot of questions. I'll again tell you, 5 to 7% of question will 100% test you in this area of project manager. Because I have seen many people who practice project management. I have done a lot of consulting. I have myself been a project manager, and lot of project managers have reported to me in last 20 years of my professional practitioner journey. Everything, these project managers, the first thing they come is they immediately escalate. And sometimes I get annoyed with these people. I'm sorry to say that, but and these are the so much senior people, 20 years of experience of project management. I always tell them, before you coming to me, did you communicate it? Did you collaborate it? With whomsoever you have a problem and you are escalating that problem to me, what have you done before? Do you want me to solve everything? Then why are you up? Then you just be a coordinator. Then I will not designate you as a project manager, because coordinator and project manager are completely two different roles. Coordinator is a project management team member. So what I want to tell you, always confront, solve problem using communication, never escalate it. Fifth mindset principle, which I want to give it to you for your PMP certification exam, is stakeholder engagement is continuous. Friends, Stakeholder engagement is not one-time activity. Many times exam will test you on this because stakeholder expectations change. Stakeholder needs change. So today, and project is influenced by many stakeholders. There are customer can influence, and customer needs and expectation change is not uncommon. We know that today customer, and sometimes the customer could be internal. You may be doing project for your HR team. You may be doing project for your sales team. So customer need not necessarily be an outside stakeholder. Because many times we doing project for our internal organizational function. As a you may be a projectized organization, and this generally happen in projectized organization. You know what is functional organization, projectized organization, and strong matrix organization, strong matrix, balanced matrix, weak matrix. Is everything going to be tested in the exam? So what I want to tell you, friends, customer expectations change, requirement change. When I'm saying need and expectation, it will come in the form of user story. It will come in the form of requirement. The requirement may have been given some time back and the requirement may now change. So you need to, many times I've seen people don't like this change. They are resistant to change. They are unsupportive to change. Remember, Agile is all about change. That mindset that you need to do, because the customer also want the deliverable as soon as possible. When he's requesting a change, the intent is not to harass a project manager or a project organization. The intention is to get a product which, as per the quality requirement, conformance to requirement and fitness to use. That is how PMBOK guide define quality. It should conform to customer requirement and the requirement should be fit for use. So always understand, friends, customer, or which is also a stakeholder engagement, is in continuous process in project. You need to always engage and adapt to customer requirement changes and re-baseline your project as per the changes and so on. But of course, before changes, you need to have engagement, analyze that change, plan that change collaboratively, get that change approved, communicate the change, and then implement the change or execute the change. Now, point number 6 is very important point. Project manager is a value delivery leader. French PMBOK guide 8th edition has been rolled out just a couple of months back. And in last 30 years, the last release, the first release of PMBOK guide was in the year 1996. And today we are in 2026. It's been 30 years. The project and the project management definition were never changed. After 30 years, PMI have changed the project definition and the project management definition. And I'm glad that this has been incorporated. And now the focus, the old definition, you all know that is what you may have learned. Of course, somebody who have attended our recent training, then our recent training from April onward, we started as per the new exam content outline, as per the new PMBOK guide, as per the new exam prep material, and so on. But the old definition is project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or a result. So earlier it was project was considered, especially the deliverable were considered as a product, service, or a result. But today the new definition that project is a temporary initiative. So they replaced the word endeavor to initiative. Project is a temporary initiative in a unique context undertaken to create value, not deliver product, service, or a result. And this is what, if by any chance you are not able to clear the exam before the exam gets changed by the July, early July, then even your exam mindset will now change. You have to, more than producing deliverable in the form of product, service, or a result, you need to focus on the scenario or the option where the value delivery is in the context. And that is what PMI is saying, a temporary initiative in a unique context. The context is this, exactly what I said some time back, the weather change. Whether I gave an analogy called enterprise environmental factor. So context is nothing but the environment is changing. The internal organizational or enterprise environment is changing, and the external change is so much of change what we are seeing today. So please understand that even if you are giving exam, of course, for exam, from the 6th of July onward, the focus will be on the value delivery leader. So this is how you need to eliminate your exam question. Okay. I'll also tell you quick traps what I have seen, some people who passed, some people who failed. I will not say that some of the students that we have trained, they have never failed. But of course, that number is not that significant. But we have always taken the feedback, and also we learn from so many other lessons learned from different platforms. Some traps because of which the PMP aspirants not able to clear the exam. That's I would like to tell you quickly that the when a person, an aspirant who sit for the exam, his his one mindset is he believe that agile means no process. Agile means no plan. Agile means no document. Okay. So this is one thing which I have experienced that I'm sorry, that a person, why some of the people failed, because they didn't understand agile from the real manifesto perspective. In agile manifesto we have 4 values and 12 principles, but see, we interpret the principles and the value based on our cognitive awareness, and because of lack of collaboration, lack of study, we make mistakes and we fall into these traps. So please understand, agile does not mean no process, no plan, no documentation. Agile tells sufficient documentation or necessary documentation. Agile tells we definitely need plan. That's what we in Scrum we call sprint planning. That's a very important ceremony. Agile also have processes. These ceremonies you have to follow. You can't ignore daily stand up or daily scrum. There are different jargon people call daily scrum, daily stand up. The objective remains same. The agenda of the stand up remains same no matter what you call them. But remember that these ceremony, these processes are important. You can't uh, take the new requirement or new user story when the sprint is in progress. And the PMP exam will test you on that. That a critical requirement product owner have told you, but the sprint, that is what the scrum, because you have to act as a scrum master or respond as a scrum master or a project owner, a project manager. Okay. So please understand that agile does not mean that no plan, no process, no documents. Okay. This traps will, if you avoid, you will still able to answer many questions correctly. One more thing, emotional intelligence is also tested deeply in the PMP certification exam. And and I may be wrong, but I want to tell you that today's human are, they have lost emotional values or emotional intelligence. Today's human are becoming selfish, and that is what reflecting in their practices, and that's what they're doing in the exam as well. And this is exactly what I said. This is not, PMP is not a certification exam. PMP is a life-changing exam. Each of these things you should able to apply, and that is what is the project definition. Application of skills, knowledge, tools, and techniques to create value. Now, even the project management definition have also been changed. So please understand that, friends, the exam will test you emotional side of a project manager. And because today the human, today the practitioner, they are selfish. They have only one thing in mind, what's in it for me? They have forgotten gratitude. They have forgotten what I can give to somebody else. And this is where the exam will test you. See, there will be scenario, if I give you a quick scenario. Let's say a team member is underperforming in your team, or let's say in my team, some team member is underperforming. It does not mean that I will immediately ask him, okay, you're fired from tomorrow, or you don't know anything from tomorrow. Rather, you work with the team member, give her that your time, give her that your knowledge and experience, and that team member have to then reciprocate, because ultimately he is the manager. He has to do, or the team has to do. So what I'm trying, as a project manager, you have to be emotionally intelligent, control your own emotion, control team emotion. The next is acting without team collaboration. This is another area where PMP exam will test you. You know, many times I have experienced project manager, they feel that they have such a great experience, or they are a PMP certified. Many times PMP will test you in an exam question, they will tell you that you are a PMP certified project manager. I have seen this question even when I gave my exam in way back in 2007. And I've seen many people told me that they asked the question because they want to test how because PMP exam is not just a certificate exam. They want to test how a certified professional will also do project. Because a project management exam, it is not a certification exam. PMI don't want to make certified people who don't know project or project management. So understand that, friends, because this is what I've seen. Once people become PMP certified, or let's say people with 20 years of project experience, he feel that he don't need team. He feel that he have delivered hundreds of projects. So he never collaborate with team. And especially, you know, planning is a team bonding activity, it's a team collaboration activity. Every time you do plan, if you are doing predictive, if you do predictive delivery approach where the project manager have to take a lead to create a plan, but collaboration is important. Of course, in agile delivery approach where team does planning and the scrum master or the project manager act as a servant leader who train them or support them. We already discussed what is servant leadership. So please understand that, friends, if you want to pass the exam and if you want to really become a good project manager, then collaborate during the project life cycle with the team. The more you be collaborating, you know, the better the project results. Another traps which I've seen people or practicing project manager not able to clear the exam is they treat change as a threat. And change can be an opportunity as well. Threat is a negative risk, opportunity is a positive risk. And the many changes in the project are a trigger of opportunity. Remember, we have risk trigger. So if you have seen a trigger for an opportunity, or because of a trigger, you found an opportunity. But many times, because when people thinks of threat or especially risk, they only assume risk as a threat. Many a time in the PMP exam, change is initiated not because of threat. Change is initiated because of an opportunity. And because of the lack of mindset, they can't correlate opportunity with change. That they don't treat that, or for the change also, or for the opportunity also, we need to initiate a change. So this is lack of mindset, and this is the trap many people fall and they fail to pass the exam. So remember that, friends, we need change requests not just because of threat, but because of an opportunity. Next trap, which I very common trap, lesson learned are done. The lesson learned are done at the end of the project. Friends, it's a continuous process. During planning focus group, when you initiate the project, all of these things are very, very important. These lesson learned are important. Execution stage, see, there are retrospection. Agile lesson learned are called retrospection. So remember, continuous lesson learned, not just at the end of a project or a project phase, end of a project phase or end of a project. The next is conflict is always bad for the project. And this is one biggest mindset problem that I see in global professional. Conflict are not bad always. Sometimes the conflict between, let's say me and my team member have conflict. See, we have conflict because of the organizational success. We should not think conflict means one person is trying to overshadow other, or one person is trying to demean other. Conflicts helps us identify new way of working. I have always experienced in my life many times because of conflict, I have corrected myself many a time. Otherwise, I would have not become a good professional, whoever I am today. I have taken conflict not as a bad, I have not, I told you conflict resolution technique, confrontation. I've always confronted the problem. I never withdrawn. Withdrawal is the worst technique for conflict. And this is what many people does. When you don't like somebody's way of working, that could be a conflict. What people does, people either just force. Forcing is also not best technique, because forcing is win lose. One person will win, other person will lose, and withdrawal is the worst. The best is confrontation. So friends, conflict, if confronted, if problem is solved, then there's a win-win result. The relationship becomes stronger. And this is the mindset you need to build in the PMP exam, because people think conflict means issues. Conflict are not issues. Of course, issues are always negative, but conflict are not always negative. So don't say that conflict equals to issues. Rather understand conflict not equals to issues. Next trap which generally I saw, governance slows project down. And this is where PMI will test you thoroughly. Friends, governance do not slow down the project. Governance protect the project from failure. See, governance has four primary functions. Governance means taking decision. Governance means oversight. Governance means control. Governance means integration. Many people don't even know how to define governance. For them, governance means maybe just monitoring and controlling. The only governance function 90% of the global professional understand is governance means control, monitoring and control. That's all. For them, governance is nothing else. Governance means integration, integrating the project deliverable to organization strategy and objective, integrating the customer expectations to the project objective. Governance means decision making. There are decisions taken by project manager, by the, of course, project sponsor, the change control board. The change control board is a governance role. Change control board is not a management role. The project CCB, change control board. Friends, many times I've seen people think, oh, if I go to change control board or if I go to sponsor for approval, then it will delay down my project. I've seen this happening many times, even in my organization, where, see, governance doesn't slow down your work. Governance is your guardrail. It helps you to take informed decision, quality decision. It gives you oversight. If you take the governance support, you will get oversight. What is right, what is good, and what is best. And you are lucky if you getting a governance support, because there have been leaders in organization who just know delegation, who know nothing. For them, leadership means delegation. So friends, please change this mindset that if you follow some hierarchy or some governance process, then your project timeline will get missed or your milestone will get missed. And this is what will be tested in your PMP certification exam. One more common trap which I've seen, risk management is only about negative risk. I think so, treating change, and this is very closely related, because remember friends, I always say change occur only because of risk or because of issues. In personal and professional life, your project should change, or you as a personal life, you should only change if your life is having a risk or your life is having an issue. Or same with your project. If your project is not having a risk or an issue, then the operational state of a project is the best state of the project. When I'm saying operation, don't understand, I mean the ongoing state, the work which you are doing, then you don't change the project. Do the same plan. Don't change the plan. So remember that risk and change and quality. See, remember there are three types of integration. I told you cognitive integration, there's a context level integration, and there is a process level integration. So these different process or the focus group or the process group, they are integrated with each other. So this mindset is risk is only about negative. Risk are an opportunity as well. And for that opportunity, many times this is what at the point number 4 I said. People don't change for opportunity. People only change for threat. Because many times people do not consider opportunity as a risk. Opportunity is also an uncertain event because risk is an uncertain event which may or may not occur. Even in your project, opportunity may or may not come. There will be probability, there will be impact. So please understand that risks are not only negative, risks are opportunity as well. Now, with this mindset, let's quickly do some question at least. So I'll present a question on your screen, okay? And let's see if we can attempt this question here, okay? So would you, I'll read this question for you, okay? And some of these options, you need to respond via chat message. And if possible, respond anonymously. That means do not respond to the participant, only respond to the host, because your response may influence somebody else to attempt the same thing. Okay, so just do that, please, because I want to see how individually you respond to this particular question. So this question is on hybrid project management approach or methodology or delivery approach. This question says a hybrid project involve integrating a predictive infrastructure deployment with an agile customer facing mobile application. During the execution of this particular project, the infrastructure team insists on following a strict change control procedure, while the agile team continuously reprioritizing backlog item based on stakeholder feedback. And this is what is the the different methodology behave differently. Now, infrastructure team want very strict change control procedure, which is a predictive delivery approach or project. And agile is saying continuous reprioritization of a backlog, which is adaptive approach. So one team, infrastructure team wants strict control, agile team wants adaptive approach. So the sponsor is concerned because the two different team, and of course, the different team can have different approach to deliver different work of that particular project. So the sponsor is concerned now that the project lack governance consistency. What should the project manager most likely do first? So option A is introduce a unified governance cadence with common reporting control across both teams. B is allow each team to tailor governance practices within predefined governance or project guardrail, predefined project guardrail. Option C is establish integrated governance boundaries tailored to each delivery approach, both predictive and agile delivery approach. And option D is define a centralized change review mechanism for all cross-team dependency. So these are the four options. I have explained you the question scenario. If possible, just respond via chat anonymously. Okay, while you're responding, you can select respond to host. Okay, I'll give you a few seconds to respond. I'm still waiting for anyone to respond. Okay, I think so. Nobody want to respond. So let me answer this question. Okay. Now I have no answer, so I'll just explain every option and try to answer the question and so on. Okay. So friends, okay, this correct option is C. Now, why option C is correct? First of all, let's analyze option A. Introduce a unified governance cadence with common reporting control. See, friends, in hybrid, the question has very clearly said hybrid project involved. In hybrid project, you can't have unified governance cadence with common reporting control. Because in predictive way, their reporting approach is different. And in adaptive, I'm sorry, in predictive, which is waterfall, plan driven, they have a different way of reporting. And in adaptive, which is agile methodology, their reporting, their way of working is different. So you can't have unified governance cadence for both the team. And that is why option C is correct, where you have to tailor to the delivery approach. Because the governance have to be tailored for every team or project delivery team approach. If there's a predictive team, for governance mechanism or governance control is different for predictive delivery team and adaptive delivery team. It have to be tailored. Option A, of course, we discussed. Option C, we discussed. B is wrong. Definitely allow each team to tailor governance practices with predefined project. See, again, predefined project guardrails or project framework or rules. You can't do. First of all, you can't ask team to tailor the governance. Governance is your responsibility. You can't just say that if sponsor is concerned with the governance, you can't, as a project manager, you can't just say team, you take care of your own governance. You are the servant leader. You are the coach. Governance means coaching. So option B is wrong because you can't just wash your hand and when such conflict occur, you can't just say that you do whatever way you want to work. Also, option D, define a centralized change review mechanism for all cross-team dependency. Again, see, hybrid project, centralized change. First of all, this question is, not directly related to change itself. So option D is completely an odd man out. But even if we less somehow able to correlate, understand that centralized change review mechanism for all cross-functional team, it have to be, that approach have to be tailored and adapted kind of thing based on the team needs and some. But primarily this question is not focusing on change, is focusing on the governance aspect. Okay, so I hope you'll able to answer the hybrid question in exam with tailored governance, because hybrid environment governance questions are tested in the exam. Okay, let's also take one or two more questions. Okay, let me read the question as well. Okay, a project sponsor ask for a project dashboard that only highlight positive matrix, performance matrix, you can say, because executive leadership is sensitive to negative reporting. So that means simply that a project sponsor asks you means project manager, and ask you that give me a dashboard, but remove all the negative performance reporting, only give me only positive matrix, because leadership team is sensitive to negative reporting. This is what sponsor is coming to you and telling you. Now, what will you do? Present sponsor approved matrix while documenting detailed concerns separately. This is option A. Option B is escalate reporting expectation to the governance board before modifying dashboard. Option C, include balanced and transparent reporting aligned with the governance principle. And option D, tailored executive reporting to emphasize strategic progress over operational variance. Now, for you, do you want to attempt this question? And these are the scenario you will see in the exam as well, where a sponsor or maybe any other stakeholder will, maybe sometimes sponsor can be replaced by PMO or maybe by customer. If he tells remove all the negative performance out of the report and then share, then what will you do in that situation? So many times people want to keep bad thing under the rug. They want to hide. They don't want to show bad performance. And this is the trap. This is what many people wants to. I want to tell you, friends, need to understand what is the right way. Okay. Again, I'll give you option for this. Okay. Friends, I hope, I really don't want to force you to answer, but I would love if you could share your, because if you don't tell where is your gap, this is another problem many people fail in PMP exam. Because again, they keep things under the rug. They don't want to show their weaknesses where they can't attempt. And this question is exactly on that environment. People, many things don't attempt. They manipulate the report. That's what we call watermelon report. They manipulate. Outside, everything will look green. Outside, everything will look green. But when you analyze the report, then you will see, when you go detail of the report, then you will see many things have been kept hidden. The negative performance was never reported. Negative matrix were never reported. The project is bleeding. The project is red. But the project manager is presenting the only green side of the project. And this situation is tested n number of times in the PMP certification exam, friends. Again, friends, C is the correct answer for this. Always include balanced and transparent reporting aligned to governance principle. Transparent. You can't hide thing under the rug. See, I have always experienced sometimes telling your weakness, telling your gap. Many people I have experienced, they don't want to say that I don't know things. They give excuses. And they misrepresent information. They are not transparent. And this is why many global projects and many global organizations fail. So always governance reporting should be as per the, even if many times the exam will also ask you some question that project performance is very good and stakeholder ask you to stop doing phase gate review or health check review. What will you do? Friends, even if customer telling you that we don't need review because everything is good. See, today everything may be good, but the environment is changing. You need to follow governance principles and governance plan integrated into project management plan. Always include balanced negative matrix, positive matrix, and transparently report them. Do not hide, because this is exactly called watermelon reporting. Many people does that thing. They show everything green, but the project is literally bleeding. And option A, present sponsor approved matrix. Friends, you can't see, there is ethics and professional conduct. You should not fear of your job. If your sponsor telling you to be unethical and show the unprofessional conduct, then leave that organization, then leave that project. And that is the time escalation is the best thing. Don't present sponsor approved matrix and while documenting detailed concerns separately. No, you can't say that I will separately document it. I will not give it to the, because it's an information distribution process. What has been planned in the governance plan, it have to be communicated even if the performance goes against the sponsor or your manager or your CEO in your organization. Always show that ethical and professional conduct. Don't be feared of losing your job. Don't lose your identity. And of course, escalate reporting, expectation. Escalation is the last option, never the first option. If all option is left, then escalate. So B is definitely wrong. Tailored executive reporting to emphasize strategic progress over operational variance. No, friends, you can't just say, I will only focus on strategic progress, but not on day-to-day performance related metrics. You have to show what has been planned. Until the plan is not changed, your way of working should not change. Hope this will set the right mindset, not just for your PMP exam, but as a global professional who going to lead the change, because project drive change. You are the change enabler for the world. You're going to make this world a beautiful place. So be ethical, be professional. Let's take another question. A project manager joins a project midway, and this is normal scenario. A project manager maybe have resigned, a new project manager may have joined a project midway. And during this midway, he discovered that stakeholder interpret project success differently. And again, this is a quite normal thing. I have experienced this hundreds of times. The way, and this is different perception. And there's a technique called CATUO analysis. CATUO analysis deal with perception and how perception leads to conflict. So what I'm trying to tell you, this is a very real situation which I have drafted here. A project manager joined a project midway. That means it may have already been chartered, it may be already maybe planned, and it is now doing the work as per the plan. And during this, when the project is in the execution, this project manager saw that the different stakeholders interpret the project success differently. Some prioritize revenue growth while the other prioritize compliance, the regulatory or legal compliance. It always happens. One person thinks, even if we don't get revenue, but compliance is very important. We should not be violating the regulatory compliance. But the other stakeholder thinks, no, because this is what organization culture. Some organization thinks, even if some people, we have to kill somebody or do something bad to somebody, we should have revenue growth. But this is also defined as business value in the PMBOK guide. Business value is exactly what is written, is a concept unique to every organization. And this is exactly what the scenario reflects. One stakeholder thinks the project success is measured by revenue growth, but the other stakeholder thinks project success is determined by compliance. Even if we don't get revenue, but if we follow the rules, compliance, then we can call project success. Now, what should the project manager do first in this situation? Option A, confirm success priorities with the sponsor before engaging other stakeholder. Or option B, revisit and align success criteria with key stakeholder. Or option C, validate current success measure against the approved business case. Option D, continuous execution while monitoring stakeholder expectations through regular review. Now for this, option B is correct. And I'll explain you why. B for Bombay. Since, and as I said, PMI is going to test the real project environmental scenario or context. Project is performed in a unique context. That's what the new project definition is. Project is a temporary initiative in a unique context to deliver, undertaken to deliver value. And this is a unique context where with a conflict, different stakeholder perceive the project success criteria, success matrix differently. And you have joined the project midway. You are not there in the project from its charter, from its planning. Now, why A is wrong? Confirm success priorities with sponsor. See, friends, the conflict is between the stakeholder. You will not go to sponsor first. And this is what is called confrontation technique. If there's a conflict, I have told you so many times in this session, confrontation, that means problem solving. Don't go to sponsor and check with him what is his priority. Boss, sponsor is not involved in the conflict. The conflict is between the two stakeholders. So you have to engage with them, not with somebody else. I hope you agree, and this is what you do in the real project. If you see that as a project manager, if you see maybe a vendor or a team member, we see this scenario having conflict, then you don't go to sponsor and tell them, oh, this is a conflict between our team and our vendor. The sponsor will fire you. He will say, boss, why are you telling me? Why don't you first engage with them? Check them. What are the root cause of the conflict? What is their different perception? So what you do is, in this situation, the best solution is show them the project success criteria, collaborate with the team, okay, and align those success criteria with both the stakeholders. Sometimes you have to resolve the problem with problem solving technique. Explain them what is, revisit those criteria that were defined in your project charter. Where will this criteria will be defined? Charter, right? Project success matrix or success criteria is defined in charter. So revisit the charter with the stakeholder, with both the stakeholder, and align with proper confrontation, and that is the best solution. Option C, validate current success measure against approved business case. See, you need to do this with team. You don't have to validate yourself. Option C says, that means the question is, what should the project manager do? Boss, you don't have to do validation of the current success criteria from the business case or from the charter. Of course, both will have business case and charter. Both will have success criteria because charter evolved from business case only. To develop charter, you need approved project business case from the project sponsor. But option C is wrong because you can't validate the success measure. You have to collaborate with the team. And option B for Bombay, that's why it is the best answer. You don't have any conflict. You don't have any, you are already clear that what is project success criteria. The problem is with the two team member, with the two stakeholder. So you have to involve them. You can't just go and validate the success criteria from business case or charter, whatsoever is given. So this mindset you need to understand that, friends, when stakeholder has problem, then collaboration, confrontation, problem solving, and the people who are involved in the conflict, they should be engaged. And option D is absolutely wrong. Continue execution while monitoring stakeholder expectations through regular review. This is definitely wrong. If there's a conflict, if you continue execution, this is called withdrawal technique. And I told you some time back, withdrawal is the worst conflict resolution technique. If you saw a problem, you confront to the problem, you solve the problem. Do not withdraw. Do not just continue in spite of you know that there is a conflict between the two stakeholders related to the project success matrix or criteria. So every option when you're doing practice, thankfully add-on skills mock exam are such rich explanation we have given, and you have so many in-house mentor. If you are not able to relate to some answer, you can talk to us, you can talk to me. I'll always walk with you in this certification journey. Two more questions, then we will end this session. Of course, this is a bit lengthy question, but we'll quickly take this question as well. A project manager is leading an enterprise-wide transformation initiative involving a cloud-based customer engagement solution. Compliance team recently introduced mandatory approval checkpoint after audit observation. And this always happened. There is something after audit, there are a lot of observation. We also call them non-conformities. You know, the audit highlights NCs. In every short abbreviation, we call NCs, non-conformities. So in this cloud-based customer engagement project solution delivery, a compliance team has introduced some mandatory checkpoint. That means they added some more gate before anything passes through that. Checkpoint or gate review, you can call it. And that's why sometimes phase gate are also called checkpoint in project management. You need to pair up because exam will not tell you phase gate, they will tell you checkpoint, sometimes kill point. Okay, so the compliance team wants to add some checkpoint because audit non-conformities have been identified. Okay, so inconsistency reporting practices in several organizational initiatives. This is exactly what I told you the scenario. Meanwhile, the delivery team, so audit team have introduced checkpoint and delivery team reports that increased approval cycle are delaying customer feedback incorporation and slowing incremental releases. And this generally will happen if you put more phase gate review, the approval process will, because phase gate review are called go or no go decision. They're also called approval stage kind of things and all. So because the compliance team has added multiple checkpoint, multiple phase gate, now decision making has become slow. The customer feedback incorporation, so that's what the question is saying. The delivery team reports that the increased approval cycle are delaying the customer feedback incorporation and slowing incremental releases. So their increments are getting delayed because of checkpoints. Senior leadership wants strong oversight. Remember, oversight is governance function, which I already told you. The four function of governance is oversight, decision making, control, and integration. So senior leadership wants strong oversight while maintaining rapid delivery of business value. This is what your leadership team wants. Which action best demonstrate effective tailoring? Again, delivery team want faster feedback incorporation so that their sprint can meet this objective and definition of done. So option A is modifying governance activity, team interaction, and delivery practices according to risk exposure and delivery need. Option B is establishing a standardized control mechanism across all teams to improve reporting consistency and audit readiness. Option C, adjusting processes, control practices to fit project context and objective. And option D, allowing delivery team to determine their own approval and reporting approaches within leadership defined boundaries. Of course, option D is wrong. I told you some time back, you can't ask delivery team to determine their own approval process. You can't say that, because approval means governance, decision. That's what I said. The fourth function of governance means decision making, approval. You can't just say the team that you tell us how should we approve. So option D is definitely wrong. Again, option C is the best one. See, why option C is best one? Because your processes and control and practices should fit a project context. This is what the project definition is. Project is a temporary initiative in a unique context. And context varies throughout the project life cycle. So if one team is adding, in fact, we did one podcast, and there I also explained this concept in lot of detail. Me and Mayur did that podcast, project value versus program value, and where we also spoke about this context as well in that podcast as well. And as I said, follow, I'm sorry, don't follow, but at least watch that video. But if you find those content is good, and if you want such rich content, because you are helping yourself by following, subscribing, so that you get such rich content, which otherwise you'll have to struggle to get. So in that time also we said that context varies and you need to adjust, you need to adapt. Adjust means adapt. Adapt the process, adjust the process and controls and practices as per the project context and project objective. So if there's a conflict, one team wants multiple barricading. Barricading means checkpoint. This is what exam it is said here. Okay, checkpoint. Checkpoint in layman language we call, you have seen when you pass on to some road, there's a police barricading. Those are checkpoints. They want to check your car. Are you drink and drive? Are you doing some unethical work? So, there are one team wants that multiple checkpoints before anybody move from point A to point B. And this is what happens in infrastructure project. Cloud-based, this cloud-based system or solution is an infrastructure solution where you have that checkpoint, which is called firewall. You know what is firewall, checkpoint. These are the real technology solution. So friends, when different team, one team wants multiple barricading, another team wants to quickly go through the road. This will always happen when you want to, let's say you want to go home now. Or let's say I want to go home now. I'm sitting in my office, I'll have to go home. And what is my objective? Quickly reach home. I don't want any police checking in between. But they are doing police checking because they want, because of security concern. Now, in that situation, what is the best solution? So we need to adjust to processes and control and practices because for that project objective, for within the project context. And option B, establishing standardized control. See, standardized control. Now somebody will say standardization is good, but there are different expectations. You can't just standardize control mechanism across all the team to improve reporting consistency and so on, especially in hybrid environment. And this question is hybrid environment question itself. And this is what in fact, we have done another podcast which is going to get released in couple of days. In that also we said, when you want to answer the question, one more mindset principle which I want to give you is, please map the question to delivery approach, whether this question is predictive delivery approach, adaptive delivery approach, or hybrid delivery approach. Many people will pick up option B because they think everything from a predictive delivery approach. Predictive means waterfall, because they have little knowledge of agile environment or agile delivery approach. So until you don't know the question is mapped to which delivery methodology, you will not able to reach to the question. And also option A, modifying governance activity, team interaction, and delivery practices according to the risk exposure and delivery need. See, only, of course, delivery need is very important. That's what we said, predictive delivery, adaptive delivery, or hybrid delivery, whatever it is. But this is very limited context. You can't modify the governance practices only to the risk exposure. Rather, the more holistic is to the project context, because there are many more factors that could be a concern or a conflict between these delivery team and the compliance team. So of course option, and this is another example or strategy for you, is you need to understand, friend, this for your PMP certification exam. You can't give very narrow answer. Option A is very narrow answer, where you're only focusing on limited environment, you're only considering delivery need or delivery approach and risk exposure. What if these two are not the reason for conflict between compliance team and the delivery team? They are not bothered about risk or the delivery. That is why option C is better. Okay, friends. Remember that always project objective and project context will always win over specific answer. Keep this in mind when you're sitting for PMP certification exam. I have one more last question and then we'll end this session. Question number 5 is, a project manager noticed or notices that lesson learned from previous project are repetitively ignored because team consider them outdated. What should the project manager most likely do? See, friends, and again, this scenario is not uncommon. Many times, and this is again mindset problem. And exactly what I said at the beginning, PMP exam is a mindset exam. It is not your experience exam. Of course, you need experience also. But as I said, many times, even 15 years of project management experience person have failed the exam because his the mindset which he has built is in a limited environment, and that is called context. The context are very limited. Projects are performed in a unique context. So if a project manager have notices that lesson learned are not being applied or team is ignoring them because they believe that the lesson learned have been documented 10 year back, 5 year back, then what will the project manager do? Of course, let's discuss one by one. Will option A correct, mandate strict adherence to historical lesson learned? Absolutely no. You can't have, that's what I said sometime back, command and control leadership style is a bad leadership style. You can't command, you can't just say follow my way or highway. I said that servant leadership is the most powerful leadership style, and command and control, any option where they you see that somebody project manager is commanding or following something very strict, then that option will be 100% wrong. Let's go to option B. Option B is again wrong. Archive older lesson learned to reduce confusion. See, friends, lesson learned just because they are old. Okay, this is what is the concern highlighted in the question, that project team is ignoring the lesson learned because they are outdated. But lesson learned, even if and this is again maybe the perception of the team. You archive means you remove them from the knowledge database or lesson learned database and you purge them, archive them and remove them so that the confusion will not come. But even if they are outdated, we have not analyzed them that they are outdated. This can't be the straight answer that we will, if team is not using the lesson learned, you will just archive them. You can't archive them first. You need to first really, that's what we said. You can't act. Many people will choose this because they act. That's what the first point I said, analyze before act. And that's why I told you, I gave you those pointers before so that you can apply in this question. So you can't act. So if you're choosing option B, then you are acting, you are not analyzing it. And I always said, act first is always wrong. Option C is absolutely correct. Validate and tailored historical knowledge to current project context. That is exactly validate. As a project manager, if team is not using the lesson learned because they seems to have that these are outdated, you have to validate them. You have to tailor the historical knowledge to the current project context. And once you're able to do that, the team will start using that lesson learned, and lesson learned will improve project success. And option D, ignore historical lesson learned and rely on team judgment. See, you can't ignore historical lesson learned because lesson learned are always historical from the past project. So you can't say because the lesson learned are not from the current project, that's why we'll ignore. You can't do that. You have to lesson learned, you have to use even if they are from the past project. Of course, we already said lesson learned should be taken throughout the life cycle. That also point I said. Many people do lesson learned only at the end of the project. But you can use lesson learned from the same project for the same project success. So option D is wrong because you can't ignore historical lesson learned. Of course, rely on team judgment is good, but you can't ignore. So the first part of the option D is 100% wrong. That's all, friends, for this session. Sorry for taking a bit longer, but we also started a bit late. And I hope, friends, this session has added value to you and you have developed a right mindset. And this mindset will be not just for your PMP exam. I hope this mindset is for a practicing project manager for whole of his life or her life. This no mentor will tell you this in the world. They are only focused on once you get the training, you are gone out. We are doing so many things for you through our WhatsApp group networking, through blog, through podcast, through newsletters, through knowledge capsule, through this interactive session. We at Add-on Skills, this is our value delivery system. So friends, hope you will pass on your first attempt, and I want to assure you, whenever you need us in this journey, you will never regret that you approached us and we ignored you. Rather, you have seen us always being proactive, because this is our principle of stakeholder engagement. We learned the principle that we need to be proactive. But at least we will be reactive if we are not proactive. If you need us, if we are not coming to you proactively, you reach out to us and we will help you. We will never say no to you. With that, I'll leave you for day, and all the best for your PMP certification exam. See you very soon in some another engagement. Thank you, everyone. Please take care.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.